Mr. Smith, are you ready?
Thumbs up, yes.
Okay. Then we'll call this regular meeting of Erie County Council to order for April 20th. And for the meeting tonight, I am actually traveling and for my safety and safety of others, as well as to keep the meeting flowing and the continuity of everything. I am going to turn the gavel over to my very capable and council's very capable Vice Chair of Council, Kim Clear. So Council Vice Chair Clear, if you would take the gavel and the chair for the meeting tonight, we would appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chairman Anderson. So I will officially call this meeting to order. May I, can we please have the Pledge of Allegiance? Please stand. I pledge allegiance
Allegiance
to the flag
flag
of the United
States
States
of America
and to the
to the
republic
republic
for
for
which
which it stands,
one
one nation,
under
under God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with
with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Do we have the optional prayer or invocation tonight?
Yes, Chairman, I will
Thank you
take
very
care
much.
of that.
Councilman Shank, please.
Thank you. You know, we look at her history, and if we don't learn from it, we're bound to repeat it. So today I'm going to take a step way back to our history when we were just kind of like that big as a country. You know, George Washington wasn't a perfect man, but he was a guy that stood up and did something that other people thought he couldn't do it. And as a veteran, and to all of our veterans, I think this is one of the ones that really hits home. Real men despise battle, but will never run from it. Thank you. Short and sweet.
Thank you very much, Mr. Shank. And as we go into battle ourselves, we please have the roll call. Mr. Smith.
Mr. Anderson,
Here.
Mr. Horton,
here,
Mr. Rastetter,
Here.
Mrs. Rennie,
Here.
Mrs. Showerman,
Here.
Mr. Shank,
Here.
Chairwoman Claire.
Here. Okay, we now have the hearing of the public. If you have called in, then you have 5 minutes to speak. Anyone who has not called in prior to the regular meeting notice, you will be given 3 minutes to speak. The first person that we have on the agenda who has called in is Mr. David Gonzalez, who is a CEO at the St. Martin Center. Mr. Gonzalez, I will start your time when you begin.
Dear members of Erie County Council, thank you for this opportunity, and thank you to the rest of you who are guests. Can everybody hear me okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So my name is David Gonzalez. As I said, I am the CEO of St. Martin Center, a Catholic charities organization that's been serving the Erie community for over 50 years. I want to talk to you specifically about the recent funding that Erie County received specifically for rent assistance and also regarding the future money that is also coming to our region for that same purpose. On March 29th, the Erie County Department of Human Services announced a rent assistance program of just over $17 million. On the surface, this program certainly sounded like great news, but we think there's more to the story. We do agree that obviously this is good news for the tenants and the many people that are in crisis in Erie. We know for sure that many individuals have lost their jobs because of this pandemic. And because of that, they can't pay their rent, their mortgages, they're facing eviction and, in many cases, homelessness. So clearly these funds are needed and are a real blessing to the community. So our concern is not with the funds themselves, but rather the way in which these first batch of funds were received and in the process, how they're going to be distributed. So the decisions about the use and distribution of this first group of funds appears to have been made behind closed doors. This program was first mentioned to other nonprofit organizations around March 11th, just a few days before it was rolled out to the community on March 29th. Secondly, the two nonprofits in the area with a combined more than 100 years of experience providing rent assistance and this precise service to the Erie community, St. Martin Center and GCAC, were not involved or consulted in this process in any way whatsoever. Instead, Erie County Department of Human Services decided for these funds to go to the Erie County Care Management Organization, otherwise known as ECCM, an agency that is related to Erie government. Also, new staff were hired and a brand new process for individuals to access these funds was created. So today's nonprofit landscape is very challenging. I'm sure you all know that, but much more so during this pandemic. It has affected thousands of families, which of course we see every day. And it has certainly affected those of us human and social service organizations that have kept our doors open, trying to meet the incredible and increasing demand for services. We battle funders that continually ask us nonprofit agencies to innovate, to collaborate, to not reinvent the wheel. All the while, those same funding sources don't want to pay for staffing or operations. It makes the work very, very difficult for us. So it is with this in mind that we find it difficult to understand how the decisions to distribute in this first group of funding, 17 million and change, these decisions were made without involving these organizations, like I said, that really we do this every day. We're concerned that this is not in the best interest of the clients and the people that really need these funds. And we certainly are concerned and want to make sure that this is addressed moving forward. So St. Martin Center and GCAC, as I said earlier, we've been doing this for over 100 years when you put us together. Every year we serve thousands of individuals specifically for the same issue of rent assistance, mortgage assistance, really with the ultimate goal of keeping people from getting evicted, because we know that once you start down that path of homelessness and getting evicted, it's just, it's really hard to get out of that. We provide our assistance, whether it's GCAC or us, together in a way that's holistic, so that we also cover things like food, transportation, utility assistance, because we know that the need for rent assistance in a family in crisis does not exist in a vacuum. We work with landlords to ensure that these rented properties in question are safe for the tenants. So as you can see, we've been doing this work a long time. We're concerned about what just happened and how it's being implemented. And I could certainly say much more about it, but I guess moving forward, I want to leave you with these thoughts for your consideration for the future, for the additional funds that we all know are coming to the region. First, please include us, experienced nonprofit organizations, in the planning and implementation of the next group of CARES or American Rescue Act funding that is coming to the region, especially when it comes to the issue of rent or housing assistance. Let's make sure that we do it differently from this first time around. Secondly, I really believe there needs to be more clarity and transparency in the relationship between Erie County government, the Department of Human Services, and Erie County Care Management. Other nonprofits and the general public really need to better understand this relationship, because it certainly appears to be a conflict of interest. Finally, I want to encourage you, if permitted by the funds and the processes, and we know that funding comes with strings attached and certainly rules and regulations, but if allowable, I would encourage you to create a stakeholder review group, if you will, that can help set priorities around the next group of federal funding that's coming.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gonzalez. I'm sorry that your 5 minutes are up.
Okay.
We appreciate, there are some comments in the chat for you too. So thank you very much for coming to speak with us today.
Okay.
The next person on our agenda is Tiffany Oliver. Is Tiffany Oliver here to speak to us today? Okay. Is there any other hearing from the public? You will be given 3 minutes. Anyone from the public wish to speak? Anyone from the public wish to speak? Last time, anyone from the public wish to speak today? Seeing none, We will move from hearing of the public. Thank you very much. We are now moving to minutes from the previous meeting. May I have a motion to approve the minutes from April 6th, 2021?
So moved. I'll second it, Ellen.
That was moved by Councilwoman Rennie and seconded by Councilwoman Showerman. Roll call?
On the minutes, Mr. Anderson,
Yes.
Mr. Horton,
Yes.
Mr. Rastetter,
Yes.
Mrs. Rennie,
Yes.
Mrs. Showerman,
Yes.
Mr. Shank,
Yes.
Chairwoman Clear.
Yes. Okay, and now we'll be moving on to the reports of county officials. First, we have the county executive and/or her designee. Mr. Sparber, any report today from the county executive?
Not this evening, Madam Chairman.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sparber. From the Finance Committee, yes, we do actually have something. The Finance Committee met last Thursday, April 15th, and they'll be Finance Committee is presenting items A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and also in addition, items M, N, and O. And that concludes the Finance Chair Person Committee report. Next up, we have the Personnel Committee, and that would be Councilwoman Rennie.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I do have a report. The Personnel Committee met on Thursday, April 15th, and I am submitting items under new business H through L for tonight's agenda, and that concludes my report. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much, Councilwoman Rennie. Is there any other reports from any other members of council tonight?
Madam Chair,
Yes, Councilwoman Rennie?
as Election Board Chairperson, I would like to make a brief statement on the current state of the primary ballot. As many people know, the primary ballot was going through various legal issues, which appear to have been resolved. And it is currently in keeping with the already certified board approved ballot. And that will be going to the printer, and we look forward to having the mail ballots, absentee ballots sent out to voters within the next 10 days to 2 weeks. And that concludes my report for the election board. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much for all of your diligent work, Councilwoman Rennie, and also Councilwoman Showerman and everyone else on the election board. Thank you for your diligence. Okay, the next item on I'm sorry, are there any other council people who would like to speak or give a report tonight? Okay, seeing none, we can now move on to old business. Old business, we had ordinances 26 and 27 from 2021.
Madam Chair.
Yes, Councilman Anderson?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Do we have a citation tonight?
I apologize. Yes, we do have, and that is in other. We do have a citation before we move to old business. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman Anderson. We do have a citation tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And that's actually not in front of me right now. Mr. Smith, do you have that the citation for this evening?
Madam Chair, it'll be for Mr. Art Arkalian, which was brought forth by Chairman Anderson.
Thank you very much. Chairman Anderson, would you like to speak before the citation is read?
Madam Chair, if I could just say a few words after the citation, I would appreciate that.
After. Okay, that
Thank
sounds great.
Thank
And you would like this read, is that correct, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, please. And then, any other council members, certainly Art was well known, so.
Okay.
Thank
All right, Mr. Smith, will you please read the citation?
Of course. Mr. Art Arkalian, 1926 through 2021. Whereas Artie Arkalian passed from this world on April 2, 2021, at the age of 94 years, born in Erie, Pennsylvania on November 19, 1926, to the late Nishan and Nora Arkalian. And whereas Art Arkalian first made his presence felt on the local sports scene while starting for his high school football team at Strong Vincent High School, served as a merchant marine following the end of World War II, was later drafted in the U.S. Army during the Korean War. His love of football stoked again by playing on the Army football team. Whereas after serving in the military, Art went on to attend Duquesne University, later transferred to Gannon, where he played a vital role on their two undefeated football teams in the early 1950s, named captain by head coach Lou Tullio, who loved his leadership skills as well as his ability on the field. Was named to the Associated Press Little All-American team twice and maintained several long-standing records, accomplishments that earned induction into the Gannon University Athletic Hall of Fame, as well as the Metro Erie Sports Hall of Fame. And whereas Art graduated from Gannon University, commenced his master's at Fordham University, where he developed a passion for broadcasting. A successful businessman and broadcaster, Art developed and owned radio stations in Sagertown and Corey, served as general manager of stations in Erie, Florida, and South Carolina, served as general manager at Fox 66, sales manager of WQLN, and most recently as sales representative for Connoisseur Media, all affected by Art's vision for stations to be more local minded, including the broadcasting of high school sports. And whereas Art was best known for organizing and running the charity sports banquet for 52 years, which was an unparalleled success nationwide, brought sports legends to Erie like Jim Brown, Johnny Unitas, Bart Starr, George Blanda, Roberto Clemente, Jesse Owens, Willie Mays, and Bob Prince, honored athletes, and provided the community with lasting memories, all while supporting local charities, establishing the sports banquet as a local institution where sons, dads, and whole families were able to learn valuable lessons from just about every big sports name in the business. Whereas Art was honored with the George Meade Distinguished Service Award, the Louis J. Tullio Community Service Award, and many others, was a member of St. Julia's Roman Catholic Church and the Armenian General Benevolent Union, was just that guy who seemed to connect with everyone, the guy in the elevator or the stranger on the airplane next to him, above all, loving his family and friends. And whereas Art will be sorely missed by his loving wife of 39 years, Linda, Cherry, 3 daughters, Robin, Calabrese, and husband, Nora Arkalian, and Ardween Yeomans and husband, her 2 sons, John and Mark, grandchildren Anthony, married to Mara, Lena Agnello, Sean and Kimberly Stevenson, Violet Arkalian, and Isla, and Caden Yeomans, his great-grandson Anthony Agnello, and great-granddaughter expected in May, also survived by his nephews Lee, Christopher, and Matthew Cherry, and Daniel Herman, niece Kelly Herman, as well as his brothers and sisters-in-law, Bill and Nancy Cherry, Lila and John Herman, preceded in death by his parents, brother John, first wife Vivian Bollinger, and daughters Kimberly and Jamie. Now, therefore, we, the undersigned members of Erie County Council, in celebration of a life well lived, declare April 23, 2021 as Art Arkalian Day in Erie County for Art's commitment to sports, family, and the profound impact he had on our community throughout his life. In witness whereof, we have set our hands on the seal of Erie County this 20th day of April, 2021.
Madam Chair.
You're muted, Kim.
Sorry, I couldn't find it. Yes, thank you, Chairman Anderson.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. Art Arkalian was a giant legendary figure of Erie, not only as a pioneer in TV and radio, but in the sports world, in certainly in Erie's sports world. And I had the pleasure of knowing him through his wife, Linda, who I worked with through the organization of Mecca Inc., where I was the board president for a number of years. And Linda helped get the contract with the state and found the Special Kids Network that was operated by Mecca for so many years. And she was just a vital component to the operation of Special Kids Network, and her love of art and their love of their family shone through every time you would see them together. And my sympathy and my heart goes out to Linda and her entire family. The passing of Art, he will certainly never be forgotten in our community. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much, Mr. Anderson, Chairman Anderson. Anyone else wish to speak tonight? Okay, seeing no one, then we will move on to old business. In old business, we had ordinances 26 and 27, 2021. They are not placed on this agenda due to the need for further study. They both received first readings on April 6th, 2021. Now we'll be moving on to new business.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Councilwoman Rennie.
bear with me. I would like to move that we amend tonight's agenda, moving items A, B, E, and F to a second reading, adding item P, the possible appointment of Ann Rosenthal to the Library Advisory Board, adding item Q, the possible resolution number 15 in support of the RACP grant for the Mill Creek Township Gateway Improvement Project. And I would also like to include a grouping of items H, J, and L.
Want to include
All possible appointments for one vote, grouping them for one vote, and to group items M, N, and O under possible sale of parcels, also for one vote.
just to be clear, Councilwoman Rennie, was it H, I, J, and L?
One moment. Yes,
Okay,
apologies, H, I, J, and L.
I wasn't
For
sure.
grouping.
Second.
Discussion?
Second.
Okay, that has been moved by Councilwoman Rennie and seconded by Councilman Horton. Is there any discussion? Okay, call for the question.
On the motion, Mr. Horton,
Yes.
Mr. Rastetter,
Yes.
Mrs. Rennie,
Yes,
Mrs. Showerman,
Yes.
Mr. Shank,
Yes.
Mr. Anderson,
Yes.
Chairwoman Clear.
Yes. And thank you very much for all of that, by the way, Councilwoman Rennie. Okay,
Madam Chair.
yes. Chairman Horton,
So-
Anderson.
Yeah, sorry, since I'm not there to be the thorn in the side, but just for clarity, because I'm a little confused. When we had the ordinances that aren't on the agenda tonight, did we not remove them before they were a first reading, or if they were read as a first reading, do we not have to move to table them? I thought that that we did not have a reading on those previously. So just so it can't come up again, just asking for clarity. I thought when we pulled them from the agenda for more study that we had not had a first reading at that point.
Mr.
We could
Smith,
just ask Mr. Smith, just for clarity.
Ordinances 29 and 30.
no, it's 26
I'm
and
sorry,
20.
26 and 27 did in fact receive a first reading on April the 6th, but that stated it was decided at finance that rather than bring them forward and table them, we would simply leave them off the agenda. The short message that Mrs. Clear read was simply as a point of information for anyone that might have wondered what happened to 26 and 27. But they would technically have been old business if they were on tonight's agenda for action.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure by the statement that we weren't then putting them on the agenda, just clarifying why we have removed them for the time being to do more study.
Yes,
And we're on-
sorry, Chairman Anderson, we did discuss that in caucus. We should have.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Nope, that's okay. That's okay.
Okay, very good then. I'm fine.
Okay,
Thank you. Thank you.
thank you very much, Chairman Anderson. Okay, Mr. Smith, can we please have a second reading of ordinance number 28, 2021?
Second reading of ordinance number 28, 2021. Sixth, 2021 library fund budget. Supplemental appropriation of $500 grant for donation from Erie Community Regional Library for climate change materials.
So
So
moved.
moved. Second.
That was moved by Councilwoman Rennie and seconded by Councilman Horton.
Showerman, I believe.
Sorry, what did I say? Councilman Horton, did I say? Oh,
I think Councilwoman Showerman.
I apologize. Councilwoman Showerman. Thank you. I apologize. Thank you. That was seconded by Councilwoman Showerman. And is there any discussion? Seeing none, hearing none. Roll call for the question, Mr. Smith?
On ordinance 28, Mr. Rastetter,
yes,
Mrs. Rennie,
Yes.
Mrs. Showerman,
Yes.
Mr. Shank,
Yes.
Mr. Anderson,
Yes.
Mr. Horton,
Yes.
Chairwoman Clear.
Yes. Okay, item B on the agenda is the second reading of ordinance number 29, 2021. Mr. Smith?
The second reading of ordinance number 29, 2021. Seventh, 2021 library fund budget. Supplemental appropriation of $13,932. Donation from the Escher Kluglowitz Fund, Library Fund of the Erie Community Regional Library Foundation for Novelist Database.
Do I have
So
a-
moved.
second,
That was moved by Councilman Horton and seconded by Councilman Rastatter. Any discussion? Hearing none. I call for the question.
On ordinance number 29, Mrs. Rennie,
Yes.
Mrs. Showerman,
Yes.
Mr. Shank,
Yes.
Mr. Anderson,
Yes.
Mr. Horton,
Yes.
Mr. Rastetter,
yes,
Chairwoman Clear.
Yes. Okay, this is a first reading of ordinance number 30, 2021. Mr. Smith?
A first reading of ordinance number 30, 2021, eighth 2021 library fund budget, supplemental appropriation of $50,000 from Keystone Recreation Park and Conservation Fund grant for the Mill Creek Branch feasibility study.
Thank you very much. And now we have a first reading of ordinance number 31, 2021.
A first reading of ordinance number 31, 2021, 10th, 2021 general fund budget, supplemental appropriation of $25,000 match for Keystone Recreation Park and Conservation Fund grant for the Mill Creek Branch feasibility study.
Thank you very much. The second reading of ordinance number 32, 2021. Mr. Smith?
A second reading of ordinance number 32, 2021, fifth 2021 Public Health Fund budget, supplemental appropriation of $5,000, creation of new line item from donation by Erie Community Foundation for the BioBot project.
So moved.
Second.
That was, I'm sorry, that was moved by Councilwoman Showerman and seconded by Councilwoman Rennie. Any discussion? Okay, seeing none. Roll call, please, Mr. Smith?
On ordinance number 32, Mrs. Showerman,
Yes.
Mr. Shank,
Yes.
Mr. Anderson,
Yes.
Mr. Horton,
Yes.
Mr. Rastetter,
Yes.
Mrs. Rennie,
Yes.
Chairwoman Clear.
Yes. Okay, item F, second reading of ordinance number 33, 2021 in title only.
Ordinance number 33, 2021, 2021 Public Health Fund budget, supplemental appropriation of $1,010,558 for carryover of prior year ELC Enhancing Detection Grant funds.
So moved.
Second.
That was moved by Councilwoman Rennie and seconded by Councilman Horton. Any discussion? Seeing none, can I call for the question? Roll call?
On ordinance 33, Mr. Shank,
Yes.
Mr. Anderson,
Yes.
Mr. Horton,
Yes.
Mr. Rastetter,
Yes.
Mrs. Rennie,
Yes.
Mrs. Showerman,
Yes.
Chairwoman Clear.
Yes. Okay, next on the agenda is item G. This is a resolution number 14. Mr. Smith, could you please read this in title only?
Resolution number 14, 2021, in support of increased staffing requirements and protections for nursing home caregivers.
Motion to approve?
So moved.
I'll second it.
Motion has been approved by Councilman Anderson and seconded by Councilwoman Showerman. Discussion?
Madam Chair.
Yes, Chairman Anderson, Councilwoman Rennie had her hand up, actually right before
Yeah,
you.
that's
Oh,
fine. Okay, very good.
That's fine. That's fine. He can go first.
Okay, Chairman Anderson?
Thank you, Chairwoman Clear. I just wanted to mention that in this resolution, council recognizes the increased need that we have, particularly in the area of safety for both professional workers in the healthcare field and the patients that they serve. We are asking the state, and not advocating for any particular bill, but asking the state legislature to recognize these safety needs and the incidents of burnout that happen with healthcare workers when these types of situations get to an effect where the patient and care ability to tend for those people gets moved out of whack. And it's been too long since the state has taken under consideration any such changes. And so we are standing up for both the healthcare workers and the patients that they serve in support of this and in support of the SEIU union and the workers that they represent. So I'm honored to have worked on this and will be supporting this this evening. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much, Councilman Anderson. Councilwoman Rennie.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to say that
Councilwoman Rennie, you've been muted.
I just hit that. All
All right,
right.
was it me?
Thank you. I'll start over. I would like to commend my colleagues for bringing this forward and for noting that there have been groups advocating for solutions to address the weaknesses inherent in our nursing home systems, which I think have been made more evident by the pandemic of the past year. And I think there is no doubt that some of the weaknesses identified have been in existence for quite a while. And the fact that this is not tied to any particular legislation, I had actually been on the fence about supporting it, but I believe I will be supporting it. However, even at that, I wish it had gone a little bit farther. This particular resolution talks about the increased reimbursement rates for Medicaid on the federal and state level. It talks about minimum staffing requirements and raising those. And there is no doubt that those are both issues, but it doesn't end there. And it is more complex than that. And that is why I wish we had spent a little bit more time with this. There are other things that should be addressed, such as the Medicaid expansion in Pennsylvania, which is key to this. There is no way of adding staffing to the nursing homes without it. And even if we do get it, the question of Medicaid and Medicare solvency is a huge question. There is some estimates that it may be insolvent within the next 10 years. And that's a concern. Do we have the money to actually do this? There is the question of the burden and potential burden on Pennsylvania taxpayers, and that is no small issue. And I would have liked to have a little more discussion regarding that. There is the question of existing regulations and requirements and their enforcement, or in this case, their lack of enforcement. And that is a big issue. And then finally, and I don't even think this is an exhaustive list of all the concerns, but there is the current precarious nature of the nursing home and long-term care facilities across the US, which by the American Healthcare Association, it is expected to lose $94 billion by the end of 2021. And more than 1,600 nursing homes could stand to close their doors within the next year. So requiring additional staffing, even in Pennsylvania, without some sort of balanced approach to all of this that takes into account the economy in Pennsylvania, that takes into account all of the other things I mentioned, it is an ongoing concern. There are no simple answers. Fortunately, this is out of County Council's purview. I do think that even recognizing the existence of these problems is a big plus. It is important for us to have these public discussions and these acknowledgements. And so just for that alone, I will be voting yes on this particular resolution. Qualified yes. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you, Mayor, Councilwoman Rennie. Now we have Councilman Anderson. I'm sorry, Councilman Shank.
Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate it. Mary, thank you. You said that a lot nicer than I could, and thank you. I appreciate that. So I'm just going to kind of echo some points. This pandemic has kind of brought to light a lot of shortcomings in a lot of areas. Our first responders, our police, our fire, our EMS, our paramedics, our first aid folks, and even EMR folks. These are a long list of people that have really kind of stepped up to the game during this. So I'm just nervous that, if we set too much in motion too quick, and I like Mary said, I want to see where the money's coming from. It's great and dandy that we say we give them 100 more people for their staffing. Well, basically, it comes down to us to figure out how to pay for it. This is classic big government saying, hey, that's a great idea. You guys figured out on the local side how you're going to pay for it. So my only concern is I agree with the intent. I get it. But the actual application of hiring more people comes back to the burden of us. And then, of course, the taxpayers. So that was my point, and I'll yield back. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilman Shank. Now we have Councilman Rastatter.
Yeah, I just wanted to reiterate Mary's points there and thank her for doing the due diligence, investigating the problem. It's a big problem all over the country, in a lot of areas, like Brian said. And I think it's another point that we need a community college. And I think that would really help pay for everything. We need more taxpayers, and that's where the balance will come from. I yield back, Madam Chairman.
Thank you so much, Councilman Rastetter. Councilwoman Showerman.
Yes, I just wanted to thank Mary. She stated everything so well. I will support it more or less in principle also, and support it because it is generic and it's asking the state to take a look at this problem and these issues. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Showerman. I think everyone spoke. I would also like to speak. I will also be supporting this resolution because I do think it's important for the state legislative body to recognize the problem. And I hope that they do their due diligence. Mary, you stated it so well. Something that we learned in one of our meetings with the COVID committee that's been doing research is that 1/5 of Pennsylvania population will be retired and in nursing homes in the next 10 to 15 years. 1/5. So this is going to be. Some of us here might be in there, but I mean, this will be something for all of us. This will, in our lifetime, this will be something that will be putting a strain on the economic situations of our government. So I think it's smart that we take a look at this now. And thank you again, Mary, for all of the research that you did. All right, if there's no more discussion, then thank you all. And I call for the question.
On resolution 14, Mr. Anderson,
Yes.
Mr. Horton,
Yes.
Mr. Rastetter,
Yes.
Mrs. Rennie,
Yes.
Mrs. Showerman,
Yes.
Mr. Shank,
Yes. Sorry about that.
Chairwoman Claire.
Yes. Okay. Next up, we have H, I, J, and L. Would you read these appointments in title only, Mr. Smith?
Madam Chair, we have the possible reappointment of Mary Ellen Lieb to a 4-year term on the Children and Youth Advisory Board. We have the possible reappointment of Cynthia Vivarelli to a 4-year term on the Children and Youth Advisory Board. We have the possible appointment of Kenneth Brasington to a 4-year term on the Human Relations Commission Advisory Board. And lastly, we have the appointment of Ms. Rosenthal to the Erie County Library Board.
Actually, that's yet to come. L is the, it might be, is something else.
Oh, my apologies. The possible appointment of Rachel Ortiz to a partial term to the Erie County Industrial Development Authority.
Thank you very much, Mr. Smith. Any discussion? Okay, call for the question on items H, I, J, and L.
Mr. Horton,
Yes.
Mr. Rastetter,
Yes.
Mrs. Rennie,
Yes.
Mrs. Showerman,
yes,
Mr. Shank,
Yes.
Mr. Anderson,
Yes.
Chairwoman Clear.
Yes. Okay, and item K, would you please read item K in title only, please, Mr. Smith?
Possible appointment of Caitlin Strohmeyer to fill an unexpired vacancy on the Human Relations Commission.
And,
She-
oh, sorry, thank you very much. And Councilman Horton, you would wish to speak. Oh, I'm sorry.
Actually, Mr. Smith had it right. I was just going to, my agenda, it had advisory board, and she's in fact leaving the advisory board and going to become a commissioner.
So do we need to,
Mr. Smith stated it right, and so I don't know if it's on your agenda as mine. It says Human Relations Commission Advisory Board, which in fact she's on her second term already on the advisory board, and she's replacing Miss Shante Pulliam Brown as a commissioner.
Sorry about that, Mr. Horton.
That's no problem, Mr. Smith.
I think first we need to, a motion to approve and then a second.
First, you need to acknowledge that, make sure that the language is right and that you're not receiving a motion on the advisory board, and that you in fact are receiving it on the commission, or that everyone is clear on that understanding.
A point of clarity, Mr. Smith, would you restate what we are going to motion and second?
Yes, Mrs. Clear, this is the possible appointment of Caitlin Strohmeyer to fill an unexpired vacancy on the Human Relations Commission. She'll be replacing Shante Pulliam Brown, who resigned April 12, 2021. This term would be expiring July 24, April 2022.
Okay.
Madam Chair.
Yes, Councilman Anderson, Chairman Anderson.
Yeah, just for clarity for Councilman Horton, because I don't have it in front of me. If it's printed on the agenda that it's the advisory board, we should probably just do a motion to change it the way his intent was supposed to be on the Human Relations Commission, and then vote as amended. If they think that clears it up.
I don't think that's necessary, but whatever be the the decision of the board. But I don't see. I think Mr. Smith presented it, and the motion was received as on the commission. But however you want to do it is fine with me.
Mr. Smith,
Madam Chair, since it's been presented in its corrected format, I believe it would be appropriate to call for a motion on that appointment as stated, with
okay,
notation that it was incorrectly written on the agenda. That could be in the minutes to clear up any possible questions.
okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Smith. So on the spoken by Mr. Smith, do I have a motion?
So moved.
I'll second it.
That was moved by Councilwoman Rennie and seconded by Councilwoman Showerman. Any discussion?
Yes.
Thank you very much, Councilman Horton. Oh, you were just muted, Councilman Horton.
As previously stated, Ms. Strohmeyer is currently on her second term on the advisory board. She's on a 5-year term. I'm looking to replace her on the advisory board, but she's been faithful to the commission, and she's carried out her duties admirably. I get constant reports from her, and I have nothing but good things to say about her. And so she has her master's degree in sociology. She does a lot of outreach work in the LGBTQT community, as well as Erie United. She's a committee woman for the Erie Democratic Party. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much, Councilman Horton. Any other discussion? Okay, call for the question.
On the appointment of Caitlin Strohmeyer to the unexpired term on the Human Relations Commission, Mr. Rastetter,
Yes.
Mrs. Rennie,
Yes.
Mrs. Showerman,
Yes.
Mr. Shank,
Yes.
Mr. Anderson,
Yes.
Mr. Horton,
Yes.
Chairman Clear.
Yes. Okay, we now have the grouping of items M, N, and O for the possible sale.
Think,
Yes, Councilman Horton?
You're muted.
maybe I'm out of place, but I think, did you present Ms. Rosenthal, or is that later in the agenda?
Later on the agenda, Councilman.
Gotcha.
Yes, we
Gotcha.
added that. It's going to be item P.
Yeah, I'm trying to follow along on mine, but of course I don't have all the changes on there, but thank you. Thank you so very much for clearing that up, madam.
Yes, yeah, we did not forget Ann, so yes.
Great.
So right now we're on items M, N, and O. Mr. Smith, would you like to read those in title only? Do we need to?
We have a possible sale of a parcel from the repository of unsold properties, index number 07025.0-005.0. Item N is 07-025-052.0-006.00. And item O is parcel number 07-025-052.0-002.01.
Motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
That was, I believe that was Councilwoman Showerman and then seconded by Councilman Horton. Right, any discussion? Let's call for the question.
Mr. Shank,
Yes.
Mr. Horton? I'm messing up my vote. I'm sorry. Mr. Anderson, please.
Yes.
Mr. Horton?
Muted.
Muted.
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Rastetter?
Yes.
Mrs. Rennie?
Yes.
Mrs. Showerman?
Yes.
Chairwoman Clear.
Yes. Okay, and now we have the addition to the agenda. This is item P with the possible appointment of Ann Rosenthal. Mr. Smith, would you like to read this in title only?
Yes, this is the appointment recommended by Councilman Horton of the appointment of Ann Rosenthal to the Erie County Library Board to represent District 2. This will fill a partial term that will expire July 1, 2022.
I'll move.
I'll
Second.
second it.
That was moved by Councilwoman Horton and seconded by Councilwoman Rennie. Any discussion? Councilman Horton.
Yes. I'm going to talk about Annie real briefly, but I just want to thank Mr. Felix Lohatai for his service to the Library Advisory Board. Felix was a new American, and he served the Library Advisory Board admirably, and he was excited about all the things that are doing, that the library is doing under Mr. Desi's leadership. Felix had an emergency and it required him to leave. I know that we have moved on from Miss Pulliam Brown, but with all of the appointees that are serving, and once their term is completed or that they have to leave on, and we replace them with someone new, I'm always just really grateful for the service and the opportunity that we're able to give people to serve in those quasi-official capacities, and then we empower people by that. And Ms. Pulliam Brown and Mr. Lohatai didn't take that empowerment lightly. Not only did they serve the commission and the advisory boards well, but they brought back information into their respective community. I know they brought back information to the 2nd Legislative District. Now, Miss Ann Rosenthal. Ann was one of many of the great applicants that we had that were applied to be a member of the Board of Trustees for the Erie County Community College. And I took the opportunity to interview all 13 or 15 applicants who applied for the trustee position. And there were so many talented people, as some of you I'm sure had as well from your applicant pool. But Ann stood out. She just really had she's a researcher's dream. Mr. Desi, you're going to love her. She currently is working out at the Mother House at the Benedictines out in Harbor Creek, out in Bryan's district. And she's a social worker by trade. She has a master's degree. But Annie is somebody, I'm sending you a worker. I'm not sending you someone who's just going to fill the seat and use it as a resume filler. And so I actually gave her the option of choosing which of the vacancies that I had. And we talked about both of them. And she was so excited by the things that the library is doing. She jumped at the opportunity, and we'll be blessed to have her serving in that capacity here in Erie County. So I present Ann Rosenthal as my nominee.
Thank you very much, Councilman Horton. I appreciate that. Okay, any other discussion? All right, let's call for the question.
Mrs. Showerman,
Yes.
Mr. Shank,
Yes.
Mr. Anderson,
Yes.
Mr. Horton,
Yes.
Mr. Rastetter,
Yes.
Mrs. Rennie,
Yes.
Chairwoman Clear.
Yes. Okay, and finally on our agenda, we have the addition of Q resolution number 15. Mr. Smith, could you please read this in title only?
Resolution number 15, 2021, in support of the RACP grant for Mill Creek Township Presque Isle Gateway Improvement Project.
Sorry, first, do I have a motion to approve?
So
So
moved.
moved. Second.
That was approved by Councilman Shank and seconded by Chairman Anderson. And discussion. Councilman Horton.
Yeah, I apologize for, I think I missed caucus for the first time, or only the second time in eight years. And I'm sure this probably was discussed in caucus. So first of all, I just want to apologize for not being up on the resolution like I should be to make an informed decision. And so I'll be listening to the short, I don't even know what the plan is or what I'm supporting, but it's a letter of support. Is there something you can put on, Nicole can put on the screen briefly, or is there a description?
Is it proper for me to answer the question at all, Mr. Smith, or no?
Well, of course, or if you like, I could read the resolution, which contains some of that information.
And if Councilman Horton would like that, that's fine. We got an email a few hours ago, Councilman Horton, from the Mill Creek supervisors. They applied for an RACP grant, and they put in their application on March 30th. And they are asking for support from the community to, they're asking government officials, legislators, they're asking citizens to write letters and send emails to the RCAP, to people that are making decisions on the RCAP grant funding in support of this project. This is basically created by, her name is Robin Crago, and who is a business owner on 8th Street, and also Chip Reel, who also is a business owner on 8th Street as well. And basically, they have created, they want to work in conjunction with actually your district. And there is a project that has already been approved that is a gateway, and you actually already, people from your district already applied for that and received the grant in order to create basically a gateway to Presque Isle from the Bayfront. And I believe that the expectation then is that it would go further out into Fairview and then the other way out into even to Harbor Creek. But this would be for money to improve the area. It would be basically making it streetscape beautiful so that people actually take 8th Street to get from the Bayfront to the Presque Isle State Park. So it would have banners and signs in the 8th Street corridor area. It would be pedestrian friendly, and it would make the more the areas along that entire 8th Street basically aesthetically pleasing, and also the ability for businesses to have more accessibility.
I'm reading the resolution and I get it. I think my district got a grant. I don't believe it was a RACP grant. I'm always hesitant when I know that there are probably 5 or 8 other RACP projects being put forth in the county. And while I do like to see progress, usually I don't know that this letter of support would have any. I don't want to give any project in our county a hand up over any other project in our county without being able to make an informed decision. And so I don't think I can support this right now. It's great. I understand the facade and I understand the linkage, and I feel like I should qualify my response to in my district, the Bayfront PennDOT plan is underway, and they've gone through everything they've gone through. They say that they spoke with the residents and the people, and they included everyone. But all of a sudden, there's a lawsuit. It's like the 3rd lawsuit. In that plan, the very first thing they said they would do was provide linkage from the city of Erie to the public dock or Dobbins Landing. They wanted an iconic linkage. And that was from their own mission statement, and it was everything they led with that. So now the plan has been completed and put forward. The only thing that's been left out of it was the thing that they led with, the iconic pedestrian linkage. And they're proposing to put an additional 14 to 20,000 cars on that stretch of highway that they want to call a parkway. And they're going to put traffic up under State Street, but everything's paid for in it. But guess what? Except the pedestrian bicycle iconic linkage. And so they're saying, we'll get to that later, but there's no funding for it later. And so there's a lot of RACPs things being put forth. I have 6 of 8 opportunity zones in my district. We're watching all of that stuff because when it comes to RACP, it's right up there with abatements, tax abatements, and I love them for the residents when we start giving away our tax base commercially and not getting anything back from it in the form of community benefit agreement or something actually tangible. Then I think going forward, we should look at it a lot closer. This discussion about all of this money that's coming in. Everybody's saying we're looking for stuff to do collaboratively. Everybody's saying, oh, we want to be equitable. And we want to be transformative. But I keep seeing the same old hands out with the same old plans and the same old blight plans and the same old urban renewal plans have resulted in redlining, and it's resulted in disinvestment in other communities. And so I'm having a hard, I won't be voting to support that this evening. And any other RACP that's put forward, this body right here, we put forth a resolution that stating that if we support any RACP, that any RACPs that come out should have community benefit language attached to it. This body put that forward. And so if they can come back with that with some community benefit language in it, like we asked everybody to put forward to who's putting forth a RACP, and Mr. Smith could probably pull that resolution. I don't want to look like we push me, pull me, but we said that any RACP letter of support that we would give, that we would ask for community benefit agreement language in it. Now, somebody can stop me if I'm wrong, but I believe that that's the resolution we put forward. And I would ask, not that it means anything, but anybody who's coming forward with a RACP request for a letter of support should in fact have received a copy of that resolution that we put forward, and they should have the opportunity to put that language or suggestions in there that we requested, and then I'll support them all day long. I don't care if it's 10 of them. They put that language in there like we asked, I'll support them, and I yield.
Madam Chair.
Yes, thank you very much. The first person I had with their hand up was Councilwoman Rennie.
Chairwoman Clear, I'm going to yield back on that. I have some of the same concerns, but I'm hoping that someone else can clarify. It's a competitive process. However, I don't know that one RACP grant application is pitted against other local grant applications. I believe it's a little bit broader than that. I guess that would be my only question. But I do have some concerns that Councilman Horton gave voice to. So I will yield back to get additional comments from some of the other council members. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Councilman Radstatter, you were next.
Yeah, as I had brought up before, Mill Creek wasn't very supportive of us when we asked them about money. And so I'm not real anxious to support them. I think that would be nice for the community, but yeah, I agree with Andre. We should look into that further. What is their real plan? I haven't seen anything about it. I would be a little concerned about the community benefits agreement, but I'm more concerned about the plan. So do unto others. Again, thank you very much, Madam Chairman.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rostetter. Chairman Anderson.
Madam Chair, thank you. And sorry that I ended up not at this meeting, but just to clarify what we're doing here, you know, we're open to supporting all projects that promote economic development in Erie County. And of course, as we move forward, we want economic development to include everyone.
You don't mind being.
And I agree with a lot of the comments that have been said, but I think they go beyond what we were attempting to do here and what we're being asked to do. And the resolution that we passed did not have anything to do with stipulating that we would not sign a letter of support to a project that didn't include community benefit agreements. It said that we were encouraging the state and the RACP office to enter into community benefit agreements with people that they give money to. Now, I have no problem if we include, if we pass this resolution, if we include the other resolution with it when we send it to the state. So they are reinforced that's what we're promoting. But this is simply a letter. We were asked to do a letter of support. And we felt it would be a stronger support as a resolution rather than a letter from council. These happen all the time for all projects, and any project that goes to get funding from the state gets support from when they ask for it from county council or the county executive or the mayor or other people or individual elected officials as they deem fit. This is not pitting one project over another. This is supporting a project that came forward to us. Certainly, I've been at meetings with other municipalities that don't necessarily reciprocate the same type of support that county government shows to them, that they don't show to us. But we're the bigger people that have the bigger vision of what happens in the community. And we know that we have to continue community progress moving forward, whether others don't recognize their responsibility or not. That doesn't mean that we should shirk away from our responsibilities. This is a major economic development corridor in our community that has a gateway plan put together. They're putting a proposal forward to get matching funding from the state. We're only supporting the notion that we support the project if the state is going to give the money. Otherwise, there is nothing else that we're stating in this resolution except to support that particular project or potential funding from the state. Again, this is not pitting one over another. Any project can come to us. I think our body has been the body that has supported all projects and recognized all projects that are worthy of economic development in our community and are economic drivers in our community. And it's exactly the vision that we've talked about on numerous occasions. And yes, our hope is that the state will recognize the benefits to the community and the need to hold accountable developers and municipalities in following through with those things. But that's not what we stated in the resolution would stop us from giving letters of support or resolutions of support on other projects. So thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you very much, Chairman Anderson. We had a hand up first with Councilman Horton and then Councilman Rastetter.
Great. I don't believe I said that it would prohibit us from doing it. Our letter encouraged that those who put forward application for RACP, as well as those issuing RACP, to put forward community benefit language agreement. That's secondary. First thing is that we received this thing hours. Yeah, we received this thing hours before our meeting. I see these plans come through all the time like we do. We vote on this stuff and sometimes it has unintended consequences. I haven't seen their plan. I know the plan that they did on my side of town resulted in commerce being diverted to other parts of town. All the odd streets, 7th Street, 9th Street, 11th Street, all cul-de-sac off the Bayfront Highway. It looks like that thing they want to call a parkway looks like it's going to be Interstate 90 North. And not all the residents have been brought into it. And I, for one, would like to see more of the plan. I'd like to have more discussion about it. And I don't think we should rubber stamp letters of support for people who come through. I think that a lot of the plans that have been done over the last 50, 60, 70 years have resulted in leaving people behind. They haven't been equitable. They have encouraged disinvestment in certain areas while investing in others. And I think that right now we're at a pivotal point in time when we should scrutinize everything. And when that, because it's all going to come back, that money's going to come back. Everybody, oh, well, you said you support it. And I don't think this letter that I've read said anything about matching funds. And I don't think that RACP is matching funds. I think RACP is just a grant designated from Harrisburg or from the state. It has nothing to do with matching funds. It's to help a project. I have the floor, please.
And then
I have the floor. Okay,
Yes,
but I have the floor. But I have the floor. I think that it's a tax abatement. The example that I would best give of one of our recent ones is that the hotel project on the, and I'll use a project in my district, on the north side of the Bayfront Parkway was a $20 million project. The developer got $5 million in RACP fund. He got 1/4 of his project paid for. 1/4 of it with a grant, taxpayer dollars. And what do we get? We got a few jobs. We got a few hotel jobs. One might say, oh, it's not that easy. We're going to get hotel revenue money in that form, but the residents get nothing. And I think that the top down approach has not worked. It has failed. And that's why we have 6,000 blighted homes here. And we should scrutinize every RACP request for every letter of support that comes through here. It shouldn't be a rubber stamp. And I do yield.
Scott, or I'm sorry, Councilman Rastetter, you're up.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to thank Carl Anderson for his comments and Mr. Horton. And just say that, yeah, we have to look into this plan before we go and put our name on it. I haven't seen their plan. Did they send us an invitation to come and see their plan or a proposal to come to us with their plan? No. They asked us for an endorsement. I think they're overstepping. which always makes me suspicious. You know that. So yeah, we better see this plan before we go saying anything about it. Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much, Councilman Rastetter and Councilman Anderson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I just wanted to state that the RACP program, and anybody can look it up if you choose, is a matching program, number one. It's a dollar for dollar matching program with what you get from the RACP program. Number two, we're talking about a difference. And I don't disagree with Mr. Horton when it comes to developers, but we're talking about a difference between developers and a municipality. Whether a developer gets a quarter of their project paid for or not, they have to have 100% match to that quarter of the money that they got. It's a matching program, dollar for dollar. It's not a grant program to just be given dollars. That's the way the RACP program works. Municipality would have to come up with the matching money to be able to do the project. But if there is discomfort with the members of council in passing this tonight, then the suggestion would be to table it until further discussion could be had. But I think by the tone of council tonight, they've answered the request from Mill Creek Township and the feelings that we have towards whether or not we're going to, at least at this point, send a support letter or a resolution to them supporting their project. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Councilman Anderson, did we lose you? Are you still talking?
Yeah. Oh, did you? I'm sorry. I said, did you miss me speaking at the end there?
No, I just want to make sure you were done, Chairman Anderson.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
all.
No, I'm sorry. Yeah, I said thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay,
About
sorry.
possibly,
Maybe I didn't hear that part.
Yeah, possibly tabling. Did you get it?
Yeah.
I said,
No, yes, my
yeah,
computer
that was
died.
it. That was
So
it.
Doug and I are hanging
Okay,
out
yeah,
right
that was-
now. So
All right, that was it.
I don't
Thank
have,
you.
but yes, we are considering just withdrawing and getting more information. Councilman Horton.
Yes, I just would ask that anybody who's requesting letters of support for RACP program of any kind or support from us from any kind, that we at least send out a copy of our resolution for their perusal.
Thank you very much, Chairman Horton. I appreciate that. Doesn't look like I have any other hands up. And I think that at this time, I would want to talk about removing this. You know, it's interesting. I was under the impression that most people knew about this project. It's been in the news, especially a lot more in the last few weeks. It's also been a part of the comprehensive plan of Mill Creek since 2018. And I was not aware that, and I will take responsibility and apologize for that, that people did not know what this was. You know, I think in the wake of the pandemic, there are so many businesses on 8th Street in Mill Creek that have been crumbling, barely surviving. And this was my way of trying to help them. I don't get many opportunities to help the people in my district, and this was one. And I'm disappointed, but I'm willing to take it off the table so that we can people can understand a little bit better about how this is going to just fix a 2-lane road and put some, you know, poles up with some frigging flags. So that's what this is supposed to be. And I understand everyone's perspectives and points of view, and where the questions might come into play. Again, I've been privy to the information. So, yes, and could we get a little bit more notice? Yeah, I would have liked more notice too. It was something I thought everybody knew about. Apparently they don't. My mistake. And And like I said, I'm willing to take it off the table. I think it also should be noted here too, the point that should be made is that Mill Creek does not reciprocate. And you're right. And I think that needs to be noted here too. So people, of course, would not want to necessarily support Mill Creek when they do not reciprocate in also agreeing to help other municipalities. So let's make sure we remember that. Although I don't want to, of course, I don't want the business people in my district and the residents in my district to suffer because of the decisions of a few. And it's their livelihoods I'm really worried about and thinking about here. Okay, so Mr. Smith, how do I do this? Do we have to vote to take it off? Or to table it, or to?
Madam Chair, I believe you could simply withdraw it since it was you that brought it forward.
Okay.
And that brings you to the end of your agenda. I believe.
Okay, all right. So I would like to withdraw this from the agenda.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Councilwoman Rennie?
I apologize. Just one more question. Do you happen to know the time frame for submission of this grant request?
It was submitted on March 31st, and I do believe that they're going to be making decisions by the end of this month. So it might be too late. So again, it is what it is at this point. Okay, so we are looking at the next finance personnel meeting will occur April 29th, 2021, 4 o'clock via Zoom. The next regular meeting of council will be May 4th, 2021 at 4. Caucus will begin at 3:30. If there are no other questions, then
Madam Chair,
oh yes, Chairman Anderson.
yeah, before we adjourn, Chairwoman Clear, I just wanted to congratulate you and thank you for your first meeting as chairwoman tonight. You did an excellent job. Your first, by the way, of many meetings that you will chair. As always, there's always things that happen with council as we're on the move, and you handled the meeting incredibly professionally and with dignity. And I thank you for filling in for me tonight and applaud you for your success of your first meeting as chairwoman. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Chairman Anderson. And I have to actually thank Chairman Anderson and Chairman Horton for being such great examples for me to follow. So I haven't filled in your shoes yet, but someday, hopefully I'll be as good as previous Chairman Horton and Chairman Anderson. So I got a ways to go. Thank you very much.
Madam Chair, can I have a quick question?
Yes.
Did we do the first readings of ordinance 30 and 31? They're just first readings, but I don't remember hearing them. And
Yes,
I'm
we
old,
did.
so-
Let's see. Did you say resolution or no?
No, they're just first reading.
We got first readings tonight of, where's my other page? I'm missing pages here. Oh,
We
thank
did
you.
them, Tim.
We did first readings, yes, of 30 and 31. We did. I marked them off and everything. Yeah, that's okay. You know, my voice is, it puts people to sleep, Jim. So you might have fallen asleep at that point.
I don't think so.
Oh, Lordy.
It's okay. It's all right. And soothing. I don't know what to say.
Nicole. That was a loud
Nicole's
laugh.
laughing in the other room. I hear her.
We trust me. We heard her from the other room.
Okay. Anything else for the good of the order?
Thank you
All
very
right.
much.
Thank you very much. Meeting adjourned. Wait. Motion to adjourn?
So
Thank
moved.
you, everyone.
So
Second.
moved.
Thank you, Mr. Shank, Councilman Shank, seconded by
Mr. Rastatter.
Everybody.
Mr. Rastatter. Okay.
Everybody.
Thank you very much.
Oh, Lord
Have a
have
good
mercy.
evening.